And the narcissist needs other people to fulfill this emptiness, to constantly simulate a life. He's using other people to simulate a self, to simulate a life, to simulate an existence, all a simulation. And this consumes his entirety. This is what he's all about. And so when he's in an intimate relationships, he expects the maternal figure to cater, to plug this hole in him, to eliminate the black hole, to make him feel alive. A borderline would describe this. A borderline would tell you, when I'm with an intimate partner, I come alive. I feel alive. And when I'm not with someone, I feel dead. She would say this, but a borderline is much more honest. A narcissist is much more fallacious. So a narcissist would never admit it, but it's exactly the same experience. This, what we call schizoid empty core, the total solipsistic isolation, the inability to become, the inability to be the you that interacts with the world. There's no you, and you therefore cannot interact with the world. And it's a desperate quest to become, simply to finally become. You're like a potential, but not a human being. And you want to convert yourself into a human being. And you say, people have to help me. Some people will give me feedbacks, others will give me input, adulation, admiration, this, that, love. Yeah. The ultimate solution is love. What kind of love? Maternal love, because I need this love to be unconditional. Adult love is conditional. Right. Adult, mature, healthy love is conditional. That's not the kind of love I need, says the narcissist. I need unconditional love.
Right. Sam, I'm pretty sure that you've answered once again my next question, which was going to be, why does the narcissist, if they're done with you, they're sure they're going to discard you, then how do they make that point in time when they start looking for the next supply? When do they distinguish that, I can see this coming to an end, I better start looking because I simply can't be alone with this true self?
Not true self, false self. Narcissists don't have
false self. Yes.
False self, yeah. The false self is a narrative. It's a piece of fiction that upholds, supports an inflated, fantastic, counterfactual self-concept.
Right.
Narcissist's image of himself as godlike. It's a good question. The narcissist starts to look for replacements and substitutes when the devaluation becomes conscious. So you remember, there's an unconscious phase of devaluing the internal object. In the unconscious phase, the internal object that represents the partner in the narcissist's mind, that object is being devalued, but the narcissist is still not aware of it. Once the devaluation of the internal object is complete, it erupts into consciousness. Suddenly narcissist wakes up one morning and says, oh my God, I got it all wrong. He doesn't say I got it all wrong, he's always right, but she has changed. She has changed, or she's under the influence of people, bad people. Her friends are bad, her family is bad. Be that as it may, it's no longer the person I've idealized. So when this reaches awareness, at that point, the narcissist begins to look for substitutes. And he's not looking for substitutes the way one would make a map or something. He begins to develop relationships, alternative relationships, full-fledged. In other words, he begins to idealize. He begins to he spots, he auditions, and he begins to love bomb and idealize someone else. And this takes place as the internal object, the devalued internal object, erupts into consciousness. The narcissist, to avoid discrepancy, to avoid dissonance, devalues the external object, and then there's a discard. And so towards the middle of the relationship, when the devaluation sets in, the narcissist already begins to look for substitutes.
Right. They simply can't be alone with that.
No, they can't be alone in this sense.
They're always...
It's a very pertinent observation. They can't be alone because this is typical of borderline.
Mm.
Borderline personality disorder, borderlines cannot be alone. And Kernberg suggested that pathological narcissism is actually a defense against borderline. He says all narcissists are at the core borderlines, but they have defenses against the borderline core, the borderline personality organization.